Hi, my name is Erica Rannicleaf, and this is my presentation on the anatomy of the respiratory system. So first we have the nostril. The nostril is the opening to the nose. Then we have the vestibule, and that guards the hairs that trap particles and debris. Next, we have the nasal concha, and there are three parts, the superior, middle, and inferior. And these form a passageway for air. They increase surface area inside the nose so that air stays in longer to humidify and warm up if necessary. Next, we have the nasopharynx, and this makes a 90-degree turn downwards, which helps trap particles, and this part of the nose only passes air. The orthopharynx, food and air pass through. And then the laryngopharynx passes food and air. So next we have the epiglottis, and this is a superior opening to the larynx guarded by a flap of tissue. Then we have the glottis, and this part is the vocal cords and opening between them. I try to draw it. It is right there. Next we have the actual vocal cords. Also, I try to draw those. It's kind of hard to see. But these produce sound when air flows through them. Then next we have the trachea. This is also called the windpipe. They're about 12 centimeters long and 2.5 centimeters in diameter. Oh, and this is also the anterior tube to the esophagus. Now what do we have? Next we have the main bronchi, and this is where the trachea is split, and it goes to each lung. So I drew them right here, a line to this one and a line to this one. Next we have the lower bronchi, and that is right here. I drew these green circles around the lower bronchi. And this is where the tube splits again so that each lung lobe receives an air tube. Next, we have the segmental bronchi. It was kind of hard to draw my line, so I had to draw them all curved, but this is where all these red circles are. And these are branches from the lower bronchi branches. Next, we have the alveoli, and this is where gas exchange will occur within the lungs. And then we have type 1 cells, which are also the squamous alveolar cells. And these cover about 90% of the alveolar surface area, and their thinness allows for rapid gas diffusion between the air and blood. So I tried to draw that over here. Also, it might kind of be hard to see. Next, we have type 2 cells, and these cover about 5% of the area, but are more numerous. And they repair alveolar epithelium when type 1 cells are damaged. So I did try to draw that. It is very small. And then next we have the lobes. So the right side of the lung has 3 lobes: the superior lobe, the middle lobe, and the inferior lobe. And since the left side has the heart, there's only 2 lobes, since there's left side on the left lung, which is the superior lobe and the inferior lobe. Next, we have the visceral pleura, and that is formed by the visceral pleura folding back. No. The visceral pleura is a serous membrane that covers the surface of the lungs. And I drew that right here. So it would cover the surface, which would be this part. I drew the line to meet the surface of the lung. And then next we have the parietal pleura, and that is formed by the visceral pleura folding back onto itself and covers the inner surface of the rib cage and the superior portion of diaphragm and adheres to the mediastinum. So I drew that right here. I kind of drew that little blue line where the parietal pleura is. Next, we have the pleural cavity, which I drew right here. And this is the space between the pleural. So it's a space between the visceral pleural and the parietal pleural. And I kind of drew the stop in my line to meet the middle, to meet the space.